Well, listen, y'all. Great evening. We are so very excited to have you guys on with us tonight. It is indeed a great day to be alive. Let me say that again. People say, why do you say great morning? Why do you say, listen, what I know to be true is people are leaving this earth at an alarmingly high rate. I mean, it's been mind blowing how fast folks are leaving the world, right? I know each and every one of us can name a person that we know in close proximity over the last month, right? That is no longer here. So, what I want to tell you, any day above ground, folks, any day above ground, we get the opportunity to make it a great day. So, listen, y'all, matter of fact, go ahead over there in the chat or down there, wherever it is, drop a great evening. Tell us where you're joining us from. We are so excited to have you guys. And listen, y'all know shift happens. Shift happens. Speaking of shift happening, something is going on with my screen right now. I don't know. I don't know if you guys can see me well. Matter of fact, drop it in the chat. Can you see me well right now? Sometimes it just happens. I don't know. It's okay. We're going to keep it moving. We're going to keep it moving. So again, tonight we are talking about it's Women's History Month. It is Women's History Month, and we are so excited tonight to kick off this conversation around celebrating women that are doing well and pushing those of you that are right there on the edge of your seat that you know it's time for you to take it up a notch. You know it's time. The world needs you right now more than ever before. So we're talking about what are some of those barriers, and then what are some of the things that we can all do right now today to, number one, be better as leaders and women in leadership, but then to also pave the way for others, because so much of the conversation that we leave out as it relates to leadership when we're talking about ladies is, are you opening the door for somebody else? Are you giving a hand to somebody else? Are you helping somebody else along their way in their journey? Because again, wherever you are in yours, you need to know that you have experience, that you have exactly what it takes for you to right now in this moment to help someone else along their way, folks. But listen, go ahead and drop it in the chat. What have you have in your cup tonight? And what was a win from last week? We've got to train our brains. You hear me say it every time. Our brain is a muscle. We can train it. We must train our brains to find the good. And I know some days now, oh my goodness, it's a lot harder than others, right? It's harder than other days, but we have the ability to do that. And it's critically important to your current state of mind and to your future success that you train your brain to find the good. Seek and you shall find, right? So drop it in the chat. What are you drinking tonight? What's your win from this week? I will share. I am drinking some lemon ginger tea tonight. That is what is in my cup. What's a win for me this week? Kudos to administrators from across Lee County School District. Y'all, I'm just so fortunate this week to hang out with them, do their Principals Academy, their Assistant Principal Academy, their Leadership in Training Academy. Y'all, I've had several one-on-one coaching sessions this week with women in leadership. And y'all, I ended my week in a very special place. It was most definitely a win for me. I ended my week in Capaya County School District, right, with some young girls and their beautiful mothers. Y'all, it was just a beautiful sight to see, talking about how do we level up as young ladies and leading young ladies. What are we doing right now to help everybody level up and to become the best version of themselves? Not succumbing themselves to societal expectations, right? But what do we do right now to show up, number one, for ourselves? Drop it in the chat. Ask yourself this question. Am I showing up for myself? You got to show up for yourself before you can show up for others. Critically important that you've got to take care of yourself before you can do that for others. But again, I had such an amazing time with them. That was a win for my head, for my heart, for my community. It was a full circle moment. And you guys know, if you have those, there's nothing like looking out in the audience and you are seeing your old students with their child. I mean, my heart just was glad. It was really glad to see that. So again, we want to say welcome tonight. I see you. T, yes, what's the win? I had a courageous conversation. Yes, right. We don't talk about that enough. As a matter of fact, we're going to jump into it just a second. Somebody else, go ahead and drop that in there. What's been your wins for the week? Y'all know we're talking about making boss moves, and that stands for us being bold, optimistic, spontaneous, and substantial. So we're jumping right on in. And I actually want you guys to help me drive this conversation tonight. What are some of the barriers that women face in leadership based on where you sit, Based on your experience, go ahead and drop that in the chat. I will tell you based on research, based on what's happening right now in the world, based on my personal and professional experience, I'm sharing just a few of those. One of those first barriers that we often see is, of course, that gender bias. Gender bias and stereotype. It is true. It has been proven that people respond differently to men in leadership roles than they do women. So for those of you that are out there and you're thinking now, I know they didn't say that to the previous principal that way, right? Or I know that they are responding different. If you're the principal, right? This even happens sometimes. They're responding differently to the AP, the assistant principal, than they are me. I've seen it in systems where, you know what? There's a particular principal who people will listen to faster than they will listen to the lady who was a superintendent, right? Sometimes it's about experience. Of course, it's always about influence, but y'all, sometimes it's just straight up. It came out the mouth of a man versus out the mouth of a woman. So don't think you are crazy if you are in a situation where you are experiencing that, because that is a real thing. Matter of fact, y'all do me a favor right now. Make sure you hit like on this video because we want to share the good stuff. Hit share. Make sure you're dropping a comment here or there so that we can help the algorithms. Y'all do what it do on all of these social media things, right? So again, that stereotype, that gender bias, that's a real thing, right? So that's most definitely a great barrier that we often will steer clear from it, but it's true. And can I tell you, research has also shown that if it's a tall man, we really respond differently than we do to a lady. So again, you're not crazy with that. That's one. What are some other barriers that we face? Y'all, we really, can we have a real conversation? We have issues as it relates to imposter syndrome. That is a real barrier as it relates to being a woman in leadership, because the reality of the fact is we feel like we are stepping into these male roles, right? We feel like this role based on society is built for a man. So I've got to step in it with masculine energy. But y'all, what happens? Drop it in the chat. What happens as a woman, as a female, when you drop in these leadership roles and people perceive as you are too masculine, right? Or the word is aggressive, right? She's too aggressive. Or even this one, she's angry, right? But again, you've got to know that that's a real life thing. My friend, my dear, you are not crazy. That is a real life proven barrier to being a lady in leadership. I see you guys. Absolutely. Work-life balance is another one, right? Aggressive is the word. I saw y'all. We're gonna have this just in a brief. I'm gonna ask you somebody who inspires you. But one of the people that has inspired me most recently over the last couple of years is Abby Phillip. Do you guys know who Abby Phillip is? Abby Phillip she made her debut on the scene as an anchor in news, right? During the previous election. And one of the things, I read an article that she put out a couple of weeks ago, and she was just talking about her role and how she's evolved and how, it's been a hard road for her to get to this place. Let me tell you the quote that she said that I was like, oh, yes. She said, "I was almost always the only Black girl in every workplace I've been in. And one of the things that I've never wanted to do was give them the satisfaction of my anger." Because we know, like, that's a real thing that is said. A woman who is female, Black, right? If we say something too quickly, if it's perceived as a certain tone, right? We're the mad, angry Black woman. And this is just not for Black women, y'all. Same thing across several cultures. When women stand firmly and boldly in what they need to do, sometimes that is perceived as aggressive. And can I tell you, because this is another part of the conversation that we don't always have a conversation about openly. Y'all, sometimes it's other women that will say these things. How wild is that, right? Matter of fact, I'm going to take a sip of tea. How wild is it that often our barriers to being effective in leadership is coming directly from other ladies who want to be in leadership? Let me take a sip of my lemon tea on that one. We're having a real conversation tonight. These are real things that we are having to deal with. I see you, Roz, right? Work-life balance. Absolutely. People don't talk about, and I will never, ever forget, and y'all, it's in my book. One of the first opening chapters in the book, I talk about this. I will never forget. Tyler was a very young baby. I mean, he was a hand baby starting daycare. I remember sitting in my car, hearing him cry. As I'm pulling up to the school, I'm still hearing him cry in my mind, right? You go through that. I really don't want my baby to be in daycare, but he needs to be in daycare. The guilt walking into a building, my baby's at daycare, and I know he's smiling because they loved him, right? They were taking good care of him. He was grinning walking in, but in my mind, I am hearing my baby cry, right? I'm hearing all of these things as I'm walking into this building, right, to be the mama for everybody else. And I'm thinking, I just left my baby somewhere else. We don't talk about the guilt that comes from being a mother in leadership who has to balance all the many things as it relates to being a good mom, because I know all of us, our number one goal is to be number one mom before we're number one anything else. And so that's a real life issue that we have to work through. Family issues, right? Often, if you are a lady who's positioned in leadership, you're not just deemed as a leader in your professional role, you're also deemed the leaders of your family. Right. So if something is happening, everybody has on the favorites list, speed dial. You're on everybody's speed dial because you're the person that has all the answers. Right. And trying to figure out that balance of leading all day, every day at work, leading all day, every day before you get to work and after you get work. Sometimes those lines get so blurred, and in the process, we lose who we are because we're not taking good care of ourselves, right? So we're talking about, again, what are some of those barriers? We're talking about what are some of the barriers that women face in leadership. This is another one. Can we be honest? Unequal pay. Men still make a lot more money than women do in the same position. And we know it to be true that often women have 3, 4, 5 times the qualifications as men do, but that pay is still an issue. This is the last one that I'll talk about before we move on. Lack of mentorship. And it's an area that, if you are good at what you do, it's not your fault that your confidence, right, often offends other people. Not your arrogance. I'm not talking about arrogance. I'm talking about your confidence in what you can do and what you do well often offends other people, right? And so what I have found in so many workspaces, not just education, but corporate as well, we will see that someone has potential, but instead of us leaning into that and giving them mentorship and helping to cultivate and open another door for them, right? We'll just let them flail out on their own. And I say we, women. So I'm talking to us today. Women, we would do that. And so I want to challenge you right now to get in your mind, who is somebody that, I know they have potential, and I know that I have something that can help them. And let me tell you the beautiful thing about mentorship. It's a two-way street. I promise you too are better off because of the relationship and the knowledge and the expertise that your mentee will have. But again, we don't always have these conversations. So those are just a few of the barriers that, again, we're talking about tonight that are critically important now more than ever. Okay. Y'all trying to take my rights away. What? Now more than ever, as women, we've got to make sure that we are cultivating and elevating other women in leadership, because we see what happens when we don't do that, right? So again, that was the first question. So let's jump right on it. And I see you guys. I'm so excited to have you guys join us. Yes, misconceptions about us being too emotional to be in leadership. Y'all, the research actually shows, and you go Google it yourself, you don't have to take my word for it, that most organizations, right, countries even that are led by women actually have better results, okay? Go Google it. Don't take my word for it, right? Because often ladies have the ability to strategically think now and long term, right? And that's a benefit that we often have. So that's the question there. Here we go. Now here's another opportunity to jump in. Who are some of the women that inspire you? Y'all, yes, we are taking time tonight to tag other women because we need that. You need to hear from someone else every now and then that they appreciate the work that you do, that they celebrate the work that you do, that they honor you. Y'all stop waiting for folks to pass. You heard me say that early on. These people, our fellow human beings, are leaving this earth faster than they ever. I feel that way. Like we're just getting out here younger, right? So don't wait to tell people that they're amazing. Don't wait to tell people you appreciate them. Let's give each other our flowers today, just like on this cup. Give it to them today. So go ahead and drop in the comments for me. Who are some women that inspire you and why? She turned her can'ts into cans and her dreams into plans. It's one of my things that I have up on my wall even here. And so what we know to be true about women who are leading the way, that that it's one thing to have a dream, but y'all, a dream and a vision requires our heads and our hearts. But that dream to be realized and actualized requires your hands. Let me say that one more time. A vision, a dream requires our heads and our hearts. But if we want that thing to be brought to fruition, right? If we want that thing to actually be realized in our universe, in our being, in our space, you've got to activate your hands, right? We've got to do the work. And so there are so many wonderful women who are not just, they don't have a dream. They're living the dream because they're doing the work, right? They are doing the work. And so, I'm just shouting out a few of mine. Y'all know I'm a Michelle Obama fan. And another local hero that I adore her. I think she is amazing. It's Carla Kirkland, y'all. She has a heart of gold. She's always giving back to her community. She's a giant in the education industry and beyond. And so even for me, you know what? I tell her that. I'm not waiting for something. She knows that, right? And so it's critically important that don't wait to tell people. Did you hear what I said a few minutes ago? Y'all trying to take some of my rights away. We've got to make sure that we're having the conversations and elevating and giving each other the courage. You giving someone else their flowers gives them some wind beneath their wings, and it activates them. You know what I'm doing matters. This is going to give them what they need to go a little further, right? To go a little stronger, to go a little longer. We need to hear that. So it's critically important that we're doing that. I had the opportunity, y'all, time is flying by. I guess it was 23, to be a host at Essence. And that was just such an amazing experience of a lifetime, right? To be able to do that and to be in the space. And so one of the places, they always bring in these amazing folks. Essence does a great job with Essence Fest of doing that. And so in between me hosting one of the stages, I ran to get in because Oprah and Kamala Harris, Vice President, they were going to be in a session. Y'all, I will never forget the hairs being raised on my arm during that time, listening and just taking in, because y'all know I've been an Oprah fan my whole life, right? I was a little girl coming home, getting off the bus, turning on Channel 3, listening to Oprah. Like, I gotta watch Oprah. I don't know. That was my thing. It's still, I love Oprah, right? But one of the things that she talked about was that, you have what you need already. You already have what you need in your being. You and your creator, you have what you need. Stop waiting on somebody to give you permission. Why are we doing that? We truly wait as women. Sometimes we'll even wait to even put in a promotion. Like, you're waiting for somebody to tell you, yeah, I think you're great. You're wonderful for that position. You sat there, and perspective is a beautiful thing. Perspective. You've seen the organization from your vantage point, and you know that you have some unique solutions. You have some unique insight. You know that you can make impact in that position, but you're just waiting. You're waiting for somebody to say, yep, you're ready. Right? And I'll never forget, like, that was the theme that day, was like, stop waiting. Stop waiting for others to validate you. Know that you have what you need between you and your creator, right? You've got everything you need. So stop sitting down on you. So that was one of the things that she said, talking about alignment and purpose, right? That day, Vice President Kamala, she talked about so much alignment and purpose. One of the other quotes that Oprah has said over and over that I keep near and dear to my heart, because even now in this space, right, you're so many things you have to learn as an entrepreneur. I know education, but this space of in between, like, it's so many things to learn, right? But she said this: there is no such thing as failure. There's no such thing as failure. Y'all drop that in the chat for me. She said, failure is just life trying to move you in a different direction. Let me say that again. That's a quote from Oprah. Failure is just life trying to move you in a different direction. So it's okay. So that's one of the things. But y'all, I see all of these beautiful names. Yes. She said, yes, Michelle. Absolutely. Y'all know I'm a fan. Candy. She's awesome. Y'all talking about someone who's willing to pour into others. I'm watching her. Like, even in her new space, y'all, she is willing to do that. Oh, thank y'all. Listen, I see y'all. We celebrate you. Absolutely. Dr. Palmer is another giant, right? I see you, Queen. I see you. I love it. Y'all continue to do that. Continue dropping those gems because we need that. You it's it's mutually beneficial, right? It's mutually beneficial. So here we go. Let's jump into this last piece here. So as we've talked about some of the barriers. We're talking about some of the giants who, despite the barriers, are moving ahead. What are some tips that we can offer each other to help navigate these leadership lanes successfully? The first thing I want to tell you is leadership impact carries a weight, right? It carries a weight. Let me say that again. Impact, influence, it carries a weight. Leadership as a lady, it carries a weight. And what I want you to know is you need to anticipate the resistance. I'm going to be quiet for just a second. If you really want to be great as a leader and you are a lady, I need you to have your mind, your head, your heart, your hands, those muscles. Anticipate resistance, right? Let me tell y'all, when I go in the gym, so leg days, some people love leg days. I struggle, okay, because I am on a progressive overload kind of approach right now in the gym, which means I'm always lifting a little bit heavier than I did before. Always just a little bit, right? It doesn't have to be just a little bit, progressive overload. Me and the leg press. If you were a fly on the wall and you were watching me get ready to get on that particular machine, I'm talking to myself. I'm like, all right, girl, I turn my music up a little bit louder in my ear. I'm like, all right, you got this. You got because I anticipate that there is going to be some resistance when I hit the leg press, right? But I got to go and I'm going to get there. And I know to get there, it requires me to press through the resistance. So I want you to know that, again, hear me well. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. All right. Leadership is not easy. So what I need you to know is to go listen. What's that music that gets you pumping? What's the thing that you need to say to yourself? So you know what? I got this. I'm going to tell you another one that I have to do. That is 2 machines, the leg press and then the Stairmaster. The Stairmaster. All right, girl, you going to stay on there for X amount of time today. Do you hear me? I anticipate the resistance, and anticipating the resistance has helped me stay the course longer. Right? Because if you aren't anticipating a thing, you're blindsided. And y'all know when we're blindsided, we're caught off guard. You knock me. I'm not stable when you are blindsided. So anticipating the resistance as a leader sets you up for greater success. Because you know what? I got my stance ready. I'm ready. Drop that in the chat. I'm ready. I got my stance ready. I'm ready for this leadership lane. I'm ready for that resistance, right? And so that's one. Another one is to stay curious, right? Stay curious and stay learning. You will never know it all. Contrary to popular belief, it's not. Do you really want to have all the information? If you're talking about leadership is about us cultivating other leaders. Y'all know that Q quote, and it's so true. If you are a leader and you are walking and you look back and nobody is following, you are simply taking a stroll. You're just walking. That's not what this is about. We are trying to empower, equip, and uplift others to join in the work that we are doing, whatever your work is, right? So it's critically important that you continue to learn and that you know that every situation is an opportunity for you to learn. Y'all know in chapter 11 of my book, my favorite one is language that lifts. We're not winning or losing. We are winning or learning. Drop it in the chat. You've heard it before. I'm winning and learning, not winning versus losing. And so it's critically important that we continue to do that. Again, leading with curiosity. I have a shirt that says lead with love. I need another one that also says lead with curiosity, right? Because so often we forget that 2 truths can exist at the same time. We forget that. And so it's critically important that as a leader, I need to stay curious. I need to stay in position. People used to ask me what was my title in a school. And I would often say, I'm the lead learner. I am leading the game. I want to stay ahead of the game, right? I want to continue to learn. So again, that first was anticipate and prep for the resistance. The second was stay curious, right? It's very important that we do that. 3, drop this in the chat. Give yourself grace and space to be human. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. I'm leaning in. Give yourself grace. So many times, and I say this, and some of you will identify with this. I am a recovering perfectionist, right? And so what I know to be true is so often we think we have to have everything figured out before we will take the leap, before we will do a thing, but before we will start a thing. And but what I want to tell you, and I say it all the time, like if you stay in that space, the perfectionist in me was feeding the procrastinator in me, right? So over time, what happened? I wasn't getting the work done. I wasn't making as much impact because I was waiting for the thing to be perfect. When in all actuality, there was a lot of people who could have benefited from my imperfect action versus the non-action of the perfectionist version of myself. So I want to say to you, and hear me clearly, perfection is not required. Just do the thing. I promise you, there's people that will be better off with you doing the thing imperfect than all the people that miss out on your genius when you were just waiting and stalling for the thing to reach perfection. And y'all, perfection is not a thing that others people don't connect with it. So in the process of you trying to wait and be a perfectionist, you turn off people that you could be helping because realistically, who is perfect? That is an unrealistic, unattainable goal, right? So our goal is to be better, not perfect, right? So again, that's step 3, talking about what are some tips. Give yourself grace and space to be human. Perfection is not required for purpose. 4, become a masterful communicator. I cannot say this enough. Become a masterful communicator. I think last live I was on with Dr. McCullum, and we had the conversation around emotional hijacking, right? So in leadership, you got to know people might come and try to get you off your game, right? They will, and they do that through trying to tug at your heart. They try to make you feel bad. They try to make you feel guilty, like you're right there, your heart, right? So you've got to learn, how do I become a really amazing active listener while also being able to internalize, process, but give people hope and strategy to do the work that we have to do? So again, that's it for become a masterful communicator. If you were to ask me what are some books, because y'all know I love to read, right? I'm an author, but I love to read. What are some old goodies that you can grab that are short reads? The 4 Agreements is a really good old one. That's a really, really, really good one. The Art of Active Listening, that is a newer one, but it's a great book that I think, people also need. Taking people with you. David Novak, that's another one, right? So I can drop those. I'll drop them after the fact if you're looking for some great reads on like just working on your effective communication game. It is what's going to separate the goods from the great. Talking about ladies in leadership, you got to step up your communication game. That's 4. And then the last one, and y'all go ahead. Do you have some other ones? Drop them in the chat because tonight we are sharing with each other. That is what we're doing. Listen, the last one that I have is to own your expertise. Drop it in the chat right now. Own your expertise. It is time for you to stop minimizing who you are and what you bring to any table, any room that you step in. It is not your responsibility to take on others' inadequacies because you stand up strong. I can't say it enough. So many times, y'all, we will put our own selves in a box. Like people don't even have to put you there. Right? People not like, it's conditioning, psychology 101, right? We know so much research is shown like you can condition people, and we have been conditioned to put our own selves in a box. We've been conditioned to count our own selves out, right? And so today I really want to challenge you to own your expertise. Own your expertise. That's, again, as I started, it's not about you being arrogant. It's about you being confident to operate in your zone of genius. Talking about zone of genius, that's one more book that I strongly suggest you guys get. That is Gay Hendricks. The book is called The Big Leap, right? The Big Leap. He talks about 4 zones of genius, right? The first zone is the zone of incompetence. That's the one that, you know what? Let's be honest, sis. You're not good at that one. I am not good good at everything. I'm not. And there was some things I'm not even putting my energy toward. Right? I'm not good at it. And I have amazing people around me who are equipped and empowered to do that thing. That's their zone of genius, right? So that first zone that he talks about is zone of incompetence. That's not my thing. I'm not I'm bad at it, right? I'm bad at it. I need to leave that be. The second one is the zone of competence. It's one of the things that you know what you're good at, but you don't enjoy it. Think about some of the things right now. Think about that one. What is something that, you know what, I'm good at it, but it feels like a mundane task, like blah. It doesn't, I don't get excited about it. The third one is the zone of excellence. And this is the one where often we get stuck, right? Talking about ladies and women, anybody in leadership, we get stuck in the zone of excellence. The zone of excellence are tasks that you are highly skilled at, you are even recognized for it, but it doesn't light you up. Let me say that again. This is one that, and I'm talking to somebody, you know exactly who you are. Zone of excellence. You're good at it. You're so good at it that others see it and they affirm it, but it's not making your heart skip a beat. It doesn't light you up. It doesn't drive you out the bed in the morning. It's like, I'm good at it. I know I'm good at it. They see I'm good at it. I'm just going to keep doing it, even though it doesn't bring me great joy. All right. That's the third one that a lot of us get stuck in. But this last one is about your zone. You drop this in the chat. I need to operate in my zone of genius. Zone of genius is, you know what? It's the thing that aligns all of your gifts, all of your talents, right? And it energizes you, all while making great impact. Let me say that again. The zone of genius is where we all should be trying to figure out, how do I get there? It is the sweet spot where your talents, your gifts, right? The things that energize you and you're making great impact. That is where we need to be, right? So those are just a few tips that, again, and I'm going to go right back because I want you to remember these tips, right? The first one was anticipate and prep for the resistance, right? Leadership requires you to lean into some heavy lifting. You got to do it. And you got to know you've got what it takes because, again, our brains, our heads, our hearts, they're muscles. You can try. And even if now you're feeling like, you know what, if I evaluated myself, maybe I haven't been a great leader. Self-reflection also is a game changer. You don't get better unless you're real with the man. I'm looking at the man in the mirror, right? You got to ask him in this situation, her, to change her ways, right? So it's critically important that you are real with yourself. But in that being real with yourself, you give yourself space and grace, right? Which is the third one, to do the work, right? We turn dreams into plans by doing the work, right? So again, that first one's anticipate and prep for the resistance. The second was stay curious and keep learning. Be the lead learning lady, right? The lead learning lady. And y'all saw that shoulder. Speaking of that, stop leaving the fact that you have feminine energy outside of the door. That's a whole nother conversation, right? But we're going to come back to it because I got some more ladies that are going to be on the show the rest of this month with us. But again, you don't have to leave your feminine energy outside of the door. Yes, I wear pantsuits, but guess what? I also rock these dresses, right? And I am leading just as strong in my 3 inches or if I got on tennis shoes because it's a field day, right? So you don't have to leave any piece of who you are outside of your leadership lane, right? The fourth thing is becoming a masterful communicator is critically important. And then that last thing is to own your expertise and to operate in your zone of genius. Listen, you guys have been amazing as you always are. We went a little long tonight, but it's okay. And I appreciate you guys for joining us. Speaking of that, you guys know I'm a teacher. And what does a teacher do? The teacher has a great formative assessment, exit slip. Give it to me. What's your one takeaway from tonight? What's the one thing that, you know what? I'm walking out of here with this. Y'all see my hair. Speaking of leadership and ladies and feminine energy, it's time for something new. I don't know what it's going to be yet. But go ahead, drop that in the chat. What's your one takeaway from tonight? And while you're dropping those in the chat, have you secured your book yet? What are you waiting on? All of these things are in this book. I was so fortunate last week. My mom called me. She had been to a church and she said the first lady at that church pulled her aside before she left. And she said, I got to tell you, I got your baby's book. She was like, I have read it one time and I'm on my second read. She said, it's helping me so much. Y'all, she is a social worker. She's not an educator, right? She is a social worker who said that book, and she said, I have it on my desk now. I told Mama, that just made my heart smile so much because, talking about being a perfectionist, that book should have been out, but guess what? I was waiting for it to be perfect. I just had to get over it. It's full of imperfections, right? But it's still making impact. So I hope you guys remembered that. So make sure you have secured your copy of Boss Moves. If you haven't, I'll drop that in the chat as well. But here we go. Let's hear it. Your takeaways tonight. I see you, Michelle, working on that communication. It is critically important. And I heard somebody come up, I think that was Roz up front, who said, you know what? I had a courageous conversation. And I tell you, the more you get in the habit of doing it, you build that muscle. I'm not saying it's just easy, but it gets easier. Right. And so that's always the goal, to get easier. Let that thing get better. It becomes more lightweight than heavyweight. Right. Thank you. Working on that communication. Candy, we see you. Keep learning. Absolutely. We must be lead learners. We must stay curious. We must keep wondering. Right. We're wondering, how can we? Why can't we? Stop letting people tell you what you can't do. Why? This is the question. Why can't I? Why can't I, right? The reminder that failure is simply redirection. Absolutely. It's not the finale. We're just going somewhere a little different. As a matter of fact, we might be going somewhere a little bit better. Operating in your zone of genius. Again, don't get stuck in your zone of excellence. So many of us, I see dead people. Y'all know that movie? I see so many people who they truly are. They're great at what they do. And listen, after trainings, I have the best, most heart-to-heart, impactful conversations. After trainings, during break, people will come beside me like, let's have a conversation, right? I'm like, let's talk about it. And I hear it often. People are operating in their zone of excellence, right? But can I be honest? We're all pushing for that ultimate. How do I make all these things work together and have fun and enjoy it in the process, right? So that's absolutely, we're trying to get there. Owning your expertise, stop putting yourself in those boxes. It's not necessary. As a matter of fact, it is a disgrace to your creator. Let me say that again, okay? And I know it's time for us to go, but let me say, you not owning your brilliance and your genius and your expertise is like a slap. I don't know about you, but God, my in his face, he created me uniquely, wonderfully, beautifully. And so you're not bragging on you. Listen, look at God's work. Drop that in the chat if you are a believer. I should have said disclaimer. I'm a believer, and look at God's work. Right? That is what that is about. Again, continue to demonstrate your greatness. Absolutely. And things don't have to be perfect. Right? Let that stuff go. Y'all drop it in the chat on the way out. I'm making boss moves this week. Listen, I mean it. If nobody has told you, I believe in you. I see you. And I'm so glad that I have the opportunity to be with you. Take advantage of the opportunity to be with people, right? As they are, where they are, you're better for it. See people. So thank you guys for doing that with me tonight. But drop it in the chat. I am making boss moves. Remember, I love y'all, and I sincerely mean that. I want to see all of you win. I want to see everybody level up in their leadership, y'all, because our children, our babies, this generation, even right now, and the next, is dependent upon you showing up the best version of yourself and leading that way. Y'all, it's been a great night to be with you, but y'all go make some boss moves this week. See you guys later.